Hello everyone, this is Karen.
Hello everybody, I am Shane.
Today we're looking at part 1 of our story called Hearts and Hands. And the vocabulary words are attach.
Attach.
The plumber attached his tools to his belt and headed inside the house.
Messy.
Messy.
My sister's room is extremely messy.
Otherwise.
Otherwise.
All of the sales clerks are helping customers or otherwise busy.
Interrupt.
Interrupt.
Stan interrupted Chloe just as she started to speak.
Acquainted.
Acquainted.
Leo invited Rose out for coffee so that the two of them could get better acquainted. So we're talking about a story today called Hearts and Hands.
Okay, so the setting of this story is on a train.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo.
And there are 3 characters.
All right, so to make it simple, there's a woman,
That's right. A young woman,
a young man,
a young man,
and an older man.
and an older man.
Okay.
But there's something different and weird about these 2 men. They are handcuffed together.
Handcuffed together. Okay. All right. So the woman sits down across from these 2 guys.
That's right.
And she recognizes the younger man.
The younger man actually looks like, nice and tidy. And then the older man looks like, a little bit messy and then looks a little bit unhappy.
Okay. So the young man is about to explain why he's on the train.
That's right.
Right, but
and why they are.
Oh, why they're handcuffed together.
That's right.
But the old man interrupts him and says, well, the reason why we're handcuffed is because, in fact, this young man here is taking me to prison because I have to go to prison for 7 years for counterfeiting money. Right?
Really?
Counterfeit. Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. So then the young woman was having just a chit chat with a young man since they haven't seen each other for a long time.
Interesting. Okay, so the story sounds like it's starting interesting. I wonder what's going to happen.
How is it going to play out? I really don't know.
All right, well, let's read day 1 first.
All right, enjoy.
Enjoy.
Hearts and Hands. A young woman is on a train heading east. It stops at Denver Station and more people get on. Among these passengers are 2 men handcuffed to each other.
Today's lesson is called Hearts and Hands. Part 1. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
And I'm Mike, and yes, we have hands and hearts, but we're not really talking about biology or the human body here. This is actually just the title of our story, and it's rather an interesting story about 2 people on a train who meet a third, and there's almost a little bit of a detective idea to this story. Maybe you can catch what's going to happen before it gets explained in the story.
You mean foreshadowing?
Yeah, get your Sherlock Holmes hat on and read everything carefully and see what you can come up with, and maybe the end of the story will match what you've already guessed.
Yeah, I've heard the phrase hearts and minds, hearts and hands. Interesting. So, sounds like we'll be feeling. You feel with your heart, and then you do stuff with your hands. Anyways, let's get some clarity by actually reading from our lesson. It begins by saying, a young woman is on a train heading east. Now, next, it says that it stops. This train stops at Denver Station and more people get on. Okay, so far, nothing strange is happening. This is all pretty normal. A person is on a train. It's heading east. That's also normal. Okay, trains go east, west, north, and south. But then next, something weird does happen. Okay, at Denver Station, some strange people get on in addition to the regular people getting on.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty normal for trains to have passengers get on and off at the stations, but the people who get on are a little unusual. As we reach the break, it says, among these passengers, the ones who get on, among these passengers are 2 men handcuffed to each other. That's very interesting. They are wearing handcuffs, those steel bracelets with a chain between that police will use to hold on to prisoners. But in this case, one of them is wearing one handcuff, the other one is wearing the other, as if one is the policeman and the other is the criminal who the police officer does not want to get away. When people are wearing handcuffs, we can say they're handcuffed. So there's these two guys attached together, handcuffed, getting on the train. That's not usual for passengers.
Yeah, that's not something you see every day. So in that way, it's a bit strange. All right, folks, with that, it's time to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这次要读的故事是美国短篇小说大师欧亨利的作品，叫做《Hearts and Hands》。心与手，他的故事呢常常会有出乎意料的结局，可是仔细阅读之后，你会发现其实到处都是有伏笔的，是有迹可循的。同学们，你可以试着一边阅读一边当侦探来找线索，去推敲这个故事的结局。Jeff 老师在开场的时候用到 foreshadowing 这个字，就表示伏笔，它是拼作 foreshadowing，foreshadowing。好，故事一开始提到，有一名年轻女子，她坐在一班往东部开的火车。那么，当车子停靠在丹佛站的时候，就有更多人上车啦。而在这些上车的乘客当中，竟然有2名手铐在一起的男子。我们在电影里面看到2个人铐在一起，通常可能是因为警察或者警探他怕犯人逃走，就会把自己跟犯人铐在一起嘛。好，那么 handcuff 这个字当名词就表示手铐。那么当动词就表示给什么戴手铐，那我们用 be handcuffed to 加名词表示跟什么什么铐在一起。接话课文中
Hearts and hands. Although the men are attached, they look very different from each other. One looks younger and more handsome, while the other looks messy and rather unhappy. The mismatched pair takes an open seat directly across from the young woman, who pays them no attention at first. But then, all of a sudden, she flashes the young man a knowing smile.
Well, Mr. Easton, don't you ever recognize old friends when you meet them in the West?
She says.
Okay, it's a normal day on the train, except for the two people who just got on the train. They're handcuffed together. That is a little bit strange.
Yeah, that is a little bit strange to wear handcuffs, well, anywhere out in public, unless you're near a jail or a courthouse or a police station. Now it says, although the men are attached, they look very different from each other. One looks younger and more handsome, while the other looks messy and rather unhappy. Okay, so obviously these two people are in very different situations in life, but one thing that is the same is they are attached to each other. And yeah, if you handcuff two people to each other, they will be attached. I guess you could even say that if you handcuff yourself, your arms or wrists are sort of attached together because they're joined together. When we attach things, we join them together in the same way that a train would attach the different cars together, so if you pull one thing, all of the others will come along in a line. We can attach things with a rope, with a chain, with some kind of lock or clasp or something like that. But basically, we're taking two things that are independent or on their own, but by using some kind of machine or device or tool, we are joining them together so they move or act as one. For example, the plumber attached his tools to his belt and headed inside the house. He clipped them on or put them through little loops, but they were now part of his belt. If he took off the belt, the tools would go with it.
There you go. They would no longer be attached to his person. Anyways, we've got these two people. One guy looks great, handsome, well put together. The other is kind of messy, kind of looking like Boris Johnson, okay? Got messy hair, okay, let's say. And he also kind of looks unhappy. Anyways, yes, if you're messy, you're kind of a mess. Yeah, right now my hair's a mess. I made my hair messy by moving it around in all sorts of different directions, okay? So you can be messy in that way, or you can just look like you haven't really put a lot of thought into your appearance, okay? So if you look messy, your clothes look rumpled, you kind of look like a disorganized person one way or another. Yes, this word messy describes a situation like that or a person like that. It's an adjective. For example, my sister's room is extremely messy. Anyways, we've got these two people, this pair of people. Now, the mismatched pair, this two-person couple there, this mismatched pair takes an open seat directly across from the young woman who pays them, I should say, no attention at first. But then something happens.
Yeah, so they get on the train and they sit down, and the woman sitting there might be reading a magazine or something. She doesn't really notice them or look up. But then all of a sudden, she flashes the young man a knowing smile. She smiles at him in a sort of way that's not just a friendly smile, but a, hey, I might know you, or something like that, and that does seem to be the case. Well, Mr. Easton, don't you ever recognize old friends when you meet them in the West? She says. Wow, so she already knows this young man, knows his name, and she's even sort of challenging him and saying, hey, didn't you recognize me? Don't you say hello or recognize old friends when you meet them in the West? Notice that capital W. That would be the western part of the American country of America. So basically, even when you're far from home, Mr. Easton, don't you recognize old friends? So there's obviously a history between these two people.
There you go. The plot thickens, as they say. Anyways, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a break. But don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
刚刚说到有2名乘客，他们的手被铐在一起。那这2个人他们外表很不搭，天差地远。一个看起来呢是比较年轻、比较帅的，一个看起来很邋遢又有点不高兴。那他们呢坐下的时候，就正好是坐在那一名年轻女子的正对面的空位。年轻女子一开始还没有注意到他们，那后来她就突然认出比较年轻、比较帅的那个男生是 Mr. Easton， 对他就露出了会意的微笑。原来这2个人啊，以前是在西部认识的是老朋友。那我们先来看2个单字 attach 这个动词它有绑或是连接或是使什么附着的意思。那么 messy 它是形容邋遢的、凌乱的。Jeff 老师在解释单字时用到 disorganized， 它其中这个 organized 是形容有组织的、有条理的，在前面加上否定字首 dis 表示这种否定相反，合在一起 disorganized 就表示缺乏条理的。好，老师还有用到 rumple 这个字 rumple rumple 这个动词表示弄皱或是弄乱，它的过去分词 rumpled 可以用来形容皱皱的。好，那么另外文中用到 mismatched 它是形容不协调的、不相配的。还有 flash 在这边是当动词来表达快速、突然的显示或是露出。Flash a knowing smile 就表示突然露出会意的微笑。接话课文中。
Hearts and hands. It's Miss Fairchild, the younger man says while using his left hand to shake the woman's hand. I'll ask you to excuse the other hand. It's otherwise engaged just at present, he says as he shows her the handcuffs. Miss Fairchild is shocked, but just as Mr. Easton is about to explain, the older man interrupts. You'll excuse me for speaking, miss, but I see you're acquainted with the marshal here, he says. He tells her that Mr. Easton is taking him to Leavenworth Prison to carry out a 7-year sentence for counterfeiting.
Okay, so we've got a woman and 2 handcuffed men. And apparently there's a connection between this pair and this woman. How about that?
That's right, and it seems that the younger man now does recognize the woman who said, hey, don't you recognize an old friend? Well, as we read on, it says, it's Miss Fairchild, the younger man says, while using his left hand to shake the woman's hand. Of course. So
the handcuffs, yeah.
Handcuffed on the right-hand side. He's got to shake with the left, which, of course, as you know, in the West is not the normal hand-shaking hand. Most people will shake with the right hand. Yeah.
There you go. Anyways, this person continues. I'll ask you to excuse the other hand. It's otherwise engaged just at present, i.e., I'm handcuffed. I'm going to have to use my wrong hand, the other hand, when it's shaking your hand. And yes, this person, he says this as he shows her the handcuffs. That's the evidence. Yeah, look, I'm attached to somebody else by way of handcuffs, so I've got to shake your hand with my left hand.
Very, very interesting. And here we have this word otherwise. When we use the adverb otherwise, we're saying in another similar kind of way, or in other respects. In other areas, my hand is engaged. I can't really use it because, at the present, it's already locked up to the other person. We use this word, I should say, to kind of talk about people who are kind of at the time unable to do something, or they are already engaged in another activity. Here's a good example. All of the sales clerks are helping customers or otherwise busy.
Anyways, moving on. Miss Fairchild is shocked. But just as Mr. Easton is about to explain, the older man interrupts. So there you go. Mr. Easton is about to talk, and the older man says something and cuts him off. He interrupts him. Yeah, let's say you're doing something and somebody gets in your way, stops you from doing what you're doing while you're trying to do it. If that's the case, if someone stops you in this way, they are interrupting you. For example, Stan interrupted Chloe just as she started to speak. Yeah, Chloe, I know you've started to speak, but I'm going to speak now. I'm going to cut you off, stop you from speaking. I'm going to interrupt you.
All right, so this is the older man. Remember this older man? He's kind of rough looking, not very well put together. So he's the one who's talking now. And what does he say? Well, we read, "You'll excuse me for speaking, miss, but I see you're acquainted with the marshal here." This is what the man says. Interesting. So he speaks up, he talks to the woman after he interrupts their conversation, but he says that he sees that she is acquainted with the marshal. When you're acquainted, this adjective means to be familiar with. You know about something, it's not unknown to you, it's not strange to you. If you're acquainted with an idea, a place, a person, a famous location, you're like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Maybe you've been there, maybe you read about it, but it's not new information, it's not news to you, it's not something you've never experienced before. You do know at least something about it. For example, Leo invited Rose out for coffee so that the two of them could get better acquainted. They could get to know each other better and become better friends. So apparently, this young man, Mr. Easton, is a marshal. That's like a police officer, like a sheriff or something like that. So he's a lawman.
There you go. And he tells her that Mr. Easton is taking him to Leavenworth Prison to carry out a 7-year sentence for counterfeiting. Oh my goodness. Mr. Easton is the marshal, I guess, and Mr. Easton is taking this person to Leavenworth Prison, a big prison, and this person is going to be in jail for 7 years for counterfeiting, i.e. they were making fake money. Anyways, folks, that's it for the first part of our story, and it's time for us to say bye-bye.
Take care.
好，那么接着 Mr. Easton 也认出对方了，他就一边讲话一边用左手跟对方握手，然后还秀了一下手铐，请对方原谅说他不是用右手握手，因为他右手刚好有事在忙。那么 Miss Fairchild 这个年轻女子，她看到手铐很惊讶，然后就在 Mr. Easton 他要解释的时候，旁边那个年纪比较大的男子就突然打断他的话。那个男子就解释说啊，因为他要为了这个伪造案要服7年的刑期。那执法官 Mr. Easton 是要带他去监狱服刑的。好，那文中用到 counterfeit 这个动词，它表示伪造、仿造。那文中是用动名词 counterfeiting， 就表示伪造的意思。好，还有 marshal， 它在美国是指这种执法官，或者是指警察局局長。Mike 老师提到的 sheriff 表示警长，或者是经由选举来产生的治安官。那么 sheriff 它是拼作 S-H-E-R-I-F-F。再来看3个单字 otherwise 这个副词它表示以其他方式的意思。那么 interrupt 这个动词表示打断、插嘴或是暂时中断。还有 acquainted acquainted， 它是形容认识的、通晓的。好，那么以上的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。大家好，我是 Hanny， 欢迎收看我们的文法单元。今天要介绍的文法重点有2个，第一个是分词片语，第二个是 while 做连接词的不同意思和用法。好，我们先来学分词片语。形容词子句可以简化成分词片语，也就是省略关系代名词，然后把动词改分词。当这个动词是主动或进行，我们用现在分词 VING， 被动的话用过去分词 PP。好，那我们用句型来看它简化的步骤。好，原本是先行词加关系代名词 who、which 或是 that 加动词，然后简化之后就可以直接变成先行词加 VING 或是 PP， 很简单吧？举例来说 ，Do you know the man who is holding a teddy bear？ 你认识那位抱着泰迪熊的男子吗？抱着泰迪熊的男子，他是穿着西装，眼睛大大的，鼻子也大大的，左边还有一颗痣吗？那应该是豆豆先生吧。好，那我们来练习简化这个句子哦。例句里面的关系子句 Who is holding a teddy bear？ 我们先省略关系代名词 who， 然后动词的部分 is holding 是进行式，那就只要保留现在分词 holding， 所以这个句子就会简化成 Do you know the man holding a teddy bear？ 好，那么最后来学习 while 做连接词的不同意思和用法。好，第一种呢是表达然而，它是用来说明对比或相反的情况，这时候意思就相当于 whereas。举例来说 ，While Alice enjoys classical music, her boyfriend prefers pop music. Alice 喜欢古典乐，而她的男朋友比较喜欢流行乐，呈现对比。好，那么第二个用法是表达尽管、虽然，它的意思就跟这个 although 或是 though 一样，像是While Alan is short, he's the best player on his team. 虽然 Alan 个子不高，但他却是他们队上最厉害的球员。那第三种是表达与什么同时，在什么期间，它是用来引导时间副词子句，像 Jane listened to opera while she was doing the dishes。她洗碗的时候听歌剧。那这边补充一下哦 ，while 引导时间副词子句的时候，要是前后子句主词一样，我们可以省略 while 后面那个主词，然后把主动动词改成动词 ing。像刚刚的例句，我们也可以把它简化成 Jane listened to opera while doing the dishes。while 后面直接加动词 ing doing the dishes。好，那么以上今天重点整理，我们下次见喽，拜拜。
I am Polly.
I am Shane.
All right, so 我们今天的主题是
我很乐意。
Oh, really?
我
Oh, you're
很
such
乐
a
意。
nice person.
对，那我先说我们的主题是什么？
真的很乐意。
我很乐意。
OK， 那我们就进入对话
好
喽。，
我很乐意。
Thanks for finishing that stinky tofu for me. That was disgusting.
My pleasure. I love disgusting things.
哎呦，谢谢你帮我吃臭豆腐哦。
不客气，好好吃哦。
OK， 所以你刚刚提到的 my pleasure， 所以它
对
中文其实意思就是是我的荣幸。对对，我很开心帮你做这件事。
对，就是给我 pleasure， 会让我觉得很开心。
你很乐意。
所以有点像是你可以换 The pleasure is all mine。
OK， 所以就是有点就变成就是这个荣幸全部都是我的，所以我真的是很愿意很乐意。
你说谢谢，可是我觉得the pleasure is all mine。
更强调
就是 all mine， you don't get any pleasure just for me。
就只有没有啦，没有。
开玩笑的啦。
Okay，
最后一个 I'm glad I could help。
OK， so glad 就是我很高兴，所以很高兴我可以帮助你。
对
Right。
So I'm really glad we can help them learn some English.
Exactly,
So,
me too.
If you're having some problems and you want some help from us, the pleasure is all ours.
Yeah, all ours. 靠我们
就
就
对
对
了。
了。
My pleasure.
My pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine.
The pleasure is all mine.
I'm glad I could help.
I'm glad I could help.